Hello, beautiful. This video is for you. If you're divorced and you've been divorced already for a while, and you've expected yourself to be further along, but you feel like you're dragging your feet. Like, even though you're showing up and working very hard and establishing foundation for your new life, and maybe it's already established and you're like, yeah, life is fine, life is good. But still, when you look at your behavior, you can tell that you do not have the same stamina, you don't have the same inner strength you had before the divorce, and you were expecting yourself to be more courageous and have more confidence overall on this side of things, and it's not happening. So you feel like there's something inside of you that's holding you back. In those moments when it's just you with yourself and you reflect back on what has happened, you reflect back on your divorce, there's this underlying thought that from time to time will come to your mind, and that is, this is my fault, I wasn't enough. The next thing is, well, if I did this, I should have done that. Maybe this was the moment when I really should have fought for us, and da. There's like a whole bunch of thoughts that follow. This sort of underlying belief that it was your fault and you were not enough somehow is not only incredibly taxing because it's shame producing, it causes us to drop completely our energy, but it's also very, very expensive. This is, I believe, one of the biggest mistakes we can make as divorced women as we are rebuilding our life, is to have that thought pattern, not look at it deeply, not address it, and allow for it to be in the back of our head, eating away at our confidence. So here's what we're gonna do today. I will guide you through the process of analyzing and understanding what was the reason why your marriage failed. What was the real reason? That will also help you see how you're being incredibly unfair towards yourself. Then I will help you understand what happens when you allow yourself to entertain that thought. What is this costing you? And we will reframe it so you can drop this toxic thought pattern. We're gonna boost your self-esteem. You're gonna release that emotional weight. And then at the very end, I'm gonna help you draw a really powerful boundary, because there's no point of going back. We have a lot to cover today, so let's go. Okay, so I told you that this thought, this belief that it's your fault because you were not enough is very expensive, right? So let me tell you what this little sneaky thought is really costing you. Your confidence, your inner strength, your sense of this, like, I've got this, nothing will stop me. I will keep on going until I figure this out. With those thoughts, you would be intentional, right? You'll be taking productive action. And you feel like you're kind of taking productive action, but it's not the same level of productive action you would be taking if you felt deeply aligned and you felt like your past is pushing you forward and it's not pulling you back. When we feel like we were the problem and we were not good enough, we don't feel strong. And that's costing us. It's costing us promotions. Before the divorce, we would have been like, oh yeah, of course I'm gonna do my best to get this promotion. And now you're like, yeah, no, I don't think I've got what it takes. It's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm okay where I am at. Maybe it's the confidence to start the business you really wanted to have, or ability to attract the men that you really feel like you deserve, a healthy, good love. Sometimes it's like we know that we're supposed to make a decision and we're like paralyzed. We're not making the decision. It's like we don't feel like we have that courage, you know? So that thought, this is my fault, I wasn't enough. Right at the bottom of that thought is a belief that I am inherently not enough, that there's something really off with me. So I hope you're ready to free yourself, because that's really what this is gonna be about. You are not a failure. You're not a failure. You're anything but a failure. Your marriage was broken. The foundation of it was broken. When we think to ourselves, this is my fault, I wasn't enough, I should have tried harder, what we're actually doing is we are reducing, like the entire time When you were married, right? If it was 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, whatever, you're taking that chunk of time and you are reducing it all, that whole experience, to a failure of your character. Listen, I gotta say something. Do you hear that background noise? That is my dog snoring. Her name is Lily. She is 16 years old, big old basset hound mix. She's my office assistant. Lily's gonna be in the background. I'll show you the picture of her. She is really, really sweet. Okay, back to you. With that belief that we are not good enough, like it was all our fault and we're not good enough. Basically what we're saying is like everything was great. He was an amazing partner. There was no problems. It's like this assumption that everything was set up for success, and another woman in your shoes would have not only made all of it work, they would have been an amazing couple and so successful and just accomplishing these amazing things and so happy together, and she would have been happy, he would have been happy, and it is you specifically or me specifically. It's us. We are the problem. That's what that thought is suggesting. And you and I know that that's not how it was, because that's not how life is. Life is 50-50. People have good qualities and bad qualities, and so do you, and so does your ex-husband. With this assumption that it's your fault, you were set up for perfection, and you somehow failed because there's something inherently wrong with you, you are being incredibly, incredibly unfair. Because it's like not taking realistic view of reality in consideration. I hope you can see that this is an incredibly toxic simplification, and thinking this way is garbage. Your marriage failed because of patterns, not your personal flaws. If you were to think about your marriage, that it was like a machine that was designed to work a certain way, specifically because of who you were as humans. The dynamic between two people in marriage is gonna be influenced by a lot of different things. Your communication styles. Did the two of you know how to communicate and talk about things when they were really, really difficult? Did you know how to move through the deep problems? Did you fully trust him? Did he fully trust you? Did you fully trust yourself? Did he fully trust himself? That matters, because it influences how we show up in a relationship. Then also what you saw as far as the family unit goes when you were growing up. What was the relationship between your mom and dad? What about him, right? Like how he understood what marriage is and what the husband should be doing, what the wife should be doing. All of the beliefs that were created before you even met. Another super obvious thing that will influence your marriage is just life itself and the amount of stress that you have at the time. And then when we think about this, well, if you were together, let's say 20, 30 years, over that time, I'm sure there were many difficulties that hit you and hit him. And there might have been some traumatic events that have influenced how you are who you are. Let's say that your marriage, and specifically how you communicated with each other, was based on avoidance. So when the problem would arise, both of you would pretend that there's no problem. Or maybe he was just pretending that there's no problem. Or maybe you were the one that was like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. So let's say that it was him, because oftentimes it is the man, because they have a harder time dealing with emotions. So let's say that he was the one that would withdraw, right? Good luck to you figuring it out. What's happening when there's a radio silence, when there's this wall that you cannot penetrate through? Maybe he was able to talk about some difficult things, but where it came to other difficult things, he was like pretending it's not a problem. And that's it. That was the thing that at the end of the day broke your marriage. This is the moment to pause the video and really think about this. What was the biggest problem in your marriage? How were you dealing with it? How was he dealing with it? Both of you, how were you dealing with that problem? Were you addressing it? Were you avoiding it? Something broke your marriage, but it didn't break from just like one situation. There were underlying patterns, there were underlying problems. So pause this video, think about it a little bit, okay? But come back to me. Don't you be running away because we have plenty other work to do. You had good qualities, he had good qualities. Your relationship, even though it involved two good people, was built on misaligned values and bad habits. It had to break. So for example, if there was that aspect of avoiding problems, avoiding feelings, pretending like things are not as bad as they were because he didn't know how to address it, you didn't know how to address it. If the communication between the two of you was not set in honesty and clarity and commitment to understand each other no matter what, you were operating in your marriage with flawed data. Think about this. Considering the fact that you had limited information, it was impossible for you to make different choices. You, the one that was in your marriage, you made the best possible choices you had with that limited information and the tools you had back then. You were truly making the best possible choice. And then some of you will be like, but I actually knew that it should be different, that I should be making a different choice about this or this or that, and I feel like I should have tried harder and this and this. Like you could be making an argument further with me here. Then I want you to own that part. I knew that there was a part of me that knew, that had a feeling, that had spidey sense that I should be doing something different here. And yet, I also felt that I should be doing what I was doing. And I didn't follow that light internal nudge because it was light. It must have not been as strong as your other point of conviction to be doing what else you were used to doing. We have to remember, marriages don't fall apart for no reason, right? And the reason itself is causing typically a lot of stress. So before it got to the breaking point when the two of you decided to get divorced, or he told you he wants to divorce you, or you made the decision, doesn't matter. There was a period of time when the stress was building up. Our mind is not like on purpose going and finding these different solutions because we don't have that freshness in our mind. We don't have that freshness in our brain. And then there's all the emotion and all the disappointment and all the hurt, all that like feeling like, gosh, I've been stressed, I've been suffering for so long, I just want out, right? We've got to own that too. You wanted out of it and you got out. And fantastic. That's why I'm recording this video too, because you are out and you deserve to have the confidence and strength to create really that life that you wanted. But here's the thing, my love. If you want to feel strong within yourself for this next chapter of your life, you cannot blame your past self, the one that was in the marriage, for not having the wisdom you have today. That's what's stealing your power, is that you're judging her. And she doesn't deserve it, by the way. She doesn't deserve it. She was trying her best. Now, today, it's easier for us to zoom out and have a little bit of a different perspective, right? It's like, oh, it's easier to analyze because we see a whole picture. We see all her marriage. It's like, well, this is behind me. I can like take a look at him. I can take a look at myself. Like all of the things. It's easier. But when you are in it, in the story of whatever frustrated you heavily, whatever was causing deep stress, the whole thing, all of it, you do not have access to the perspective you have today. So you couldn't have that wisdom. You couldn't know any better. This is why it's incredibly cruel when we blame ourselves. She was doing her best. So we're not gonna blame her anymore that she didn't make a different choice. Oh, well, she should have fight differently for it. She should have said differently. Don't. Please just stop that. Because that is creating toxic division inside of your soul. You're not integrated within. You don't feel strong within, right? This is why. So what if we were to just accept that things were what they were? She did her best with the understanding she had at the time, with the tools she had at the time, with the desires she had at the time. And one of her desires was possibly to get out. Maybe you had the desire. I had a very, very strong desire. But if you need to, could you forgive that girl that was doing her best, trying so hard? At the very end of this video, I'm gonna give you a letter that we can write to her, and we can free her from any judgment that today we might have placed on her. There's one more really important point that I want you to take away from this. The fact that your marriage failed is a shared responsibility. If you want to feel stronger in this post-divorce life, you definitely don't want to be your own worst self-critic. In fact, what you want to do is you want to kind of almost become like this. I'm going to call it forensic system analyst, right? Because it's dead. Whatever was there is dead. So we're going to analyze the data. You want to focus on what was dysfunctional in the dynamic so that you do not carry that further into your next relationship. But you do not want to be focused right now on what was lacking in you. Especially if you have had this like, oh, it was my fault. No, señorita. We do not do that from this point on, okay? Sure, you want to take responsibility for how you were in that relationship and how you overall show up in relationships. No problem. Do that. Eventually, not right here. If you haven't looked at the shared responsibility of why that marriage failed, you must first do that part, okay? Because our brain will simplify it and will make us be responsible for it. And you see the consequence, right? Now you need strength. And that comes from peaceful, solid alignment. In that dynamic where we feel strong within, well, there's no place for inner battles, no place for heavy blame, and definitely no place for beliefs that make you feel really weak at the very core of you. Your value is non-negotiable. You're a child of God. You're priceless. There's nothing that could make you be more worthy or less worthy. All right, my love. So now we are going to look at where self-blame is like draining that strength out of you. It's draining your resources. This is where you will see the true cost of this mindset, of that belief that like I'm somehow not good enough. First of all, I want you to understand that there's a pattern here with majority of women that get divorced. In the first stages, you have to build up your case to divorce your ex-husband, right? And so your mind will create this strong evidence for why he's at fault and why it is his fault that things are falling apart. And oftentimes it's actually women that file for divorces. It's not the men. So then there's also this like inner shame eventually that settles in. It's like, you know, you broke the marriage. You feel like you maybe took away the security from your children, the security they had, right? Like there's that extra voice that will come out. When the dust settles and you start analyzing and looking back, it's like, oh my goodness. Another thing that happens though is that we as women feel this deep responsibility for emotional and like rational success of our marriages, right? We feel like, oh, I am the one that's more of a feeler. I'm the one that understands. I'm like deeper connected to myself. So I should have been the one that had enough wisdom to guide us through this. And that's why we have this sense of like we're taking the responsibility for the divorce. But let's go back to the toxic shame that keeps on showing up within us when we have that thought that it was our fault, that's why things didn't work out. There are 3 traps that happen when you have this thought, where you feel like it was your fault that things didn't work out. The first trap, when you have this belief that was my fault, I wasn't enough, is you give all of the power to your ex-husband. Because you are unconsciously agreeing that you were the problem and he was the victim. Our mind will make it so black and white. But then, if you are the problem and he's the victim, if you are the problem, that in itself will keep you paralyzed. Because deep inside you're like, something is wrong with me. And you know what, frankly, many of us carry this belief within us throughout our whole lives. So it's like, oh, what's new, you know? I'm blaming myself again. I don't think that I'm enough. What's new? You might want to think about this. Has this belief been planted in your mind early on in your childhood? And it might have been. But you know, when you were a child, you didn't know any better. You believed whatever your parents told you, whatever society told you. You believed, right? Because you were the tabula rasa. You were born with no ideas, no thoughts, and then whatever came, you made it yours. Whatever belief were planted became yours. But the good news is we are adult women now. We have fully developed prefrontal cortex. Maybe this is your time to finally address this. To finally say to yourself, you know what? I understand that this has been a part of my story. That I have been living my life with this in the background for a very long time. I would like now to experience life where I feel worthy of the good things in my life. And they come to me because I feel worthy of them. This video, this moment, it could be when you start breaking that belief. But you know what? There's this one extra thing that happens, and I want to make sure that you also realize this. We have this thing that the divorce was our fault, and we are the problem, and he's the victim. Then there is a part of us that also believes that we must receive either approval or forgiveness from him, or maybe both. But you're not gonna feel strong if you believe that there's, like, first of all, you have this toxic shame within you, and there's also a human being outside of you that is supposed to give you approval or forgiveness. My love, you will not be able to build solid future of seeking validation from your past. You have to validate yourself, and you can. Now, if I am speaking to you, you're like, oh my God, I needed to hear this. She's talking to me. This is my problem. This is why I'm not moving forward. This is why it's been so hard. This is why I feel like I'm moving through muck. If you want to know how to give yourself validation and really push yourself out and build yourself so strong, and you feel super powerful to create this amazing life for yourself on your terms, with that sense of freshness and strength, reach out to me. That's literally what I help with. I help divorced women create that sense of strength here because the past is cleaned up. Okay, so I will put a link to my website in the comments. You'll be able to schedule a call with me and we can talk about your specific situation then. Okay, so that was the first trap that we fall into when we have this thought. But the second one is the energy drain that whole dynamic causes. Because what happens is, like, when you start shaming yourself and you have this belief that, like, I'm not good enough, it was all my fault, you fall into this, like, circular regret. You feel low and you feel stuck because it's like there's this thought, there's this strong belief inside of you. But there's also past that happened. We cannot go back, we cannot do anything about it, but your mind is obsessing. But this sort of thinking will cause you to feel paralyzed. It holds you down and you're spinning. You're not gonna take yourself out of it because the thought that you think to yourself is producing shame and guilt. And both of those are holding you in that low spinning cycle. The way how our minds are designed, unless you take yourself on purpose to that area of your mind and on purpose uncover it and on purpose work with it, your mind will not take you out of it. Especially if that belief has been there for a whole life. Your mind is like, oh, okay, that's just another proof. She's not worthy. All good. All good. Your mind won't challenge itself. That's why you need coaches. That's why we need to guide your mind to the solution on purpose. Because that thought pattern will hold you in one spot. We need to prove to your mind that you are not the only one to blame. So, hello, mind. No. This was not all my fault. Only I am worthy. I am not the one to blame for all of it. And I will not be negotiating my value with the world any longer. I am done with that story. I want you to think about just this one small extra aspect of it. When we allow for shame and guilt to hold us down and for those thoughts to be just spinning in our head when we don't address them, we're wasting a lot of mental energy. Mental energy that is your most valuable asset, because you could take that mental energy and you could use it to actually consciously start creating the life that you really know you deserve. If you're thinking about like, I'm not good enough, it was all my fault, that energy is fuel, and a fuel that you're wasting. Second consequence, the second trap is that you're basically in paralysis, but then there is a third one, which is even worse. Believe or not, yes, there is even worse one. That one is the deadliest one, and that is unworthiness. Because if you truly believe, like fundamentally, that you are unworthy, you will be sabotaging anything good that's coming your way. You will sabotage your own success in many different ways. So you're not gonna be applying for that high-level promotion because like deep inside, you're actually afraid that you're gonna fail again. You won't let yourself open up to a healthy, good relationship because you're like, yeah, I'm bound to mess it up. When we hold on to that self-blame, we settle for less and less and less, because that shame and that guilt will be getting stronger and stronger within us, and then our standards will keep undropping. Maybe you've already noticed that in your life, that your standards keep undropping. So that is the true cost, is that you let that thought be, you let that belief strengthen, and your life keeps on slowly dropping. Your standards for yourself drop. Your standards for other people around you drop. You're experiencing less and less satisfaction in life. You have less and less courage. You're not moving up, you're declining. Okay, my love, enough talk about the problems, even though they're really, really big, and I hope that I really built a case of why you really want to change. Now we're gonna talk about the change. I'm gonna tell you how to pivot. What we want to utilize is strategic self-compassion. What is that? Powerful tool for clarity. First of all, we have to rephrase that regret. So let me walk you through this. Right, we need to point it out exactly. What is it in your case? You really want to think about this in a moment when I tell you pause the video again and really think about what is the biggest regret that you have when you think about your marriage, when you think about your divorce. What is the biggest thing that you regret? Some of you, not all, but I'm gonna give you an example, and obviously this is gonna be different for many of you, but for some of you, it's like you're like, I felt like, you know, our marriage lacked that spark, like that relationship was dead and dead for such a long time, and we were both really unhappy, so that's why we got divorced. But now, on this side of things, you see that this freedom was a fantasy that doesn't really exist, and that you traded a valuable partner for something that's not exactly real, because now you see that he was a better partner to you than anyone that you have met since. So maybe your regret is like, gosh, I wish I thought about it more. Like, all the relationships go through tough times. I should have stayed longer, tried harder. Maybe I should have be determined, not giving up so easily, and really talk to him about the hard things and not give up so fast. So right now, let's pause the video, think about it so you really, really know what it is that you regret. And if you have something to write with, you have a piece of paper, write it down, what it is that you regret. And then come back to me when you finish. Now that you know what it was. The next part is where we make a decision that we're going to stop saying, I should have done this and this and this and that. before I take you there, I want you to help yourself understand that part of you that made that decision to not to take that action that you feel like she should have taken, right? So if you feel like, oh yeah, I should have been more determined, we should have talked more, we should have looked for solutions, I should have not walked away so fast. Now let's look at the other side of things. Why did you not do that? There's a reason why you didn't. Maybe because you were sick and tired of trying to talk to him about it over and over and over and over and over for years. And you were not expecting him to poof, all of a sudden change and be like, oh my gosh, she's got a point. This is an issue. We need to address it, right? Maybe you were tired of it. That's why you're like, yeah, you know what, I'm done. You want out? I want out. Goodbye. Fantastic. Finally free. I've been suffering in silence for so long, I finally can walk away. So maybe that was part of the reason why you're like, no, I'm today here after fighting for this marriage for so long, I am giving up. So we really want to build a case for the past you, the one that made the decision not to do what you think you should have done. So pause the video and answer that question. Why did I do or didn't do what I think she should have or should have not had done back then? Why was it that she made the decision? So pause the video, answer that question, come back when you're finished. Now we see why you did what you did, right? We have it very clear. So this is the thought that I want you to, from this point on, with this understanding, take into the future. This was the best decision your past self could have made with the information and emotional capacity she had at the time. Because you did not know what the divorce will be like. You didn't know what the life after divorce will be like. You had no idea what that will be like. You were in that dynamic, filled with all the emotions, filled with the pain, disappointment. There's a whole different bunch of negative emotions that lead us to the divorce, and you were most likely experiencing them, right? So we have to remember that there was also this like emotional baggage that she was dwelling in when she was making the decision. And this is why we need to understand, give her the acceptance and forgiveness and be like, you know what, she was really doing her best. This is what I want you to write down. I made the best decision I could with the information and emotional capacity I had at the time. I made the best decision I could with the information and emotional capacity I had at the time. That's what we're going to think about her from this point on. That was our first step. Now the second step, we need to create a boundary so that you do not go back and keep on rethinking the same thought. It's like we have to draw a line in the sand. From this point on, think about your past as data points, not your destiny. There's a powerful sentence that will give you the sense of direction and detachment from your past. And it goes like this. I'm not responsible for the loss of the marriage, but I am responsible for the launch of my new life. I'll put both of them in the comments. Look in the top comments underneath this video. That's where you will find them. So this sentence that gives you the sense of detachment and the direction moving forward is gonna be like your shield against that old narrative. So now that your mindset has shifted and you have this boundary, we've got to invest a little time and probably much needed forgiveness, okay? And please don't skip it. I want you to think about it like this. If you are to forgive your past self and really, really drop that heaviness, taking the time to do this, and it's not gonna take a super long time. Taking the time to do this, it's like your $1 billion investment, seriously, because it will make you feel stronger. The regret is draining your energy and is keeping all your power locked up. So it's like we have to shift your identity from a girl who failed to a girl who learned and climbed the lesson. But at the same time, remember, this is not about like getting you off the hook. Recognizing that you are a human and you are not perfect and you are not supposed to be perfect, even though our mind will simplify things. which is very unfair often. You are a human. You get to make mistakes. You get to turn them into lessons, and you get to learn from them. Another question. Before we go into the forgiveness, let's build up a case towards it, okay? What have you learned from your marriage? What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about your husband? What have you learned about how you choose men? The past self suffered for the wisdom. What's the wisdom? What did she give you as a result of that suffering? What wisdom? Maybe the biggest lesson that you learned is like, my God was telling me not to get in this marriage. I was manipulated and gaslit, and I wish I wasn't just looking at his potential. Like, I truly wish that I listened to my intuition more. If you didn't go through such a painful experience as a result of not listening to your gut, well, now you're gonna listen, aren't you? Maybe you're the type of a person that tends to make hasty decisions. And that was the case with the divorce, where you're just like, oh, I'm done, I'm walking away. Not really thinking about the consequences of that decision to your future self, right? Not really thinking through like, oh, what her life will be like, all the things. It was just like a quick, hasty, strong decision, and you could see yourself making those sort of quick decisions in other areas of your life. So this is a very good thing to know about yourself, that sometimes it might pay off to just slow down a little bit. Here's your question. What is the lesson you're claiming? Pause the video and answer that question. All right, my love, we are almost done, but now is the part where you're gonna be writing a letter to your past self. I wanna invite you to write yourself a permission to really move on. I'm gonna put the text of this into the comments as well, so you can just copy it there, but I'll read it to you right now, okay? So you can just like pause and write it out as well, however you want to do it. But this is how it could go. You can definitely change it if you feel like it. Dear past me, I am writing this to release you from the marriage, the guilt, and the endless loop of what ifs. I forgive you for not having the wisdom, the courage, or the emotional bandwidth to leave sooner. I forgive you for making financial decisions you now regret, for choosing to ignore the red flags, and for not speaking up when you knew you deserved better. You were doing the best you could with the tools and fear you had at the time. That struggle is over. You're no longer responsible for carrying the weight of the failure. The truth is, that chapter closed because it had to. I grant you full, unconditional permission to stop dwelling on the past. I give you permission to claim the lessons, mourn the loss, and then turn all that heavy energy toward the light. You are free to be happy, to trust your gut completely, and to build a future that is entirely yours. I love you, and you are free to go. Sincerely, the triumphant me, and then you sign your name. So again, I'm gonna put this text into the comments so you can just sit down and write it down. I strongly recommend that you take your own pen and write this letter out with your own handwriting, and then read it to yourself. You can then burn it if you just want to destroy it, or keep it for yourself for the moments when you feel like you're still holding on and you actually feel like you need to be moving on. That would be a good thing to read from time to time. But it is a very beautiful and powerful way to send healing to your past self and then feel this like deep sense of release. Your future, my future, our futures, they depend on our ability to release the past. So I want you to remember, the system failed, you didn't fail at all. In fact, you have won. Start seeing your marriage as a gift that gave you so many lessons, so much wisdom, equipped you with the tools you need to create different, much, much better life. Again, for those of you that need guidance and help, or you would just want this process to be easy and relatively fast, reach out to me. I specialize in helping my clients make peace with their past, drop the past, and really embrace the day to day and then the future that they're creating. On average, it takes a woman 5 years to move on from a divorce. 5 years. That's a very long time. Don't you think? I believe that it takes this long because the process is not managed. I believe that it can be much, much faster if we are actually in charge of how our mind deals and our hearts, right? Like what actually happens, what are the emotions within us that we create to meet that painful past. If you have a deep sense of gratitude and deep sense of self-acceptance, and you're looking at your past as something that was a gift and it's pushing you forward, it's not gonna take you 5 years to move on from what was. Right? It's not gonna be 5 years. It's gonna be faster. But of course it's gonna take 5 years if you're not in charge of it. If your mind constantly keeps on looking at, oh, okay, this is what I did wrong, that's how I failed, I should have done this, I should have done that. So for those of you who are ready to embrace this process, get it done and move on, reach out to me. That is specifically what I help my clients with. I absolutely love my job. It is an amazing honor to take my women that have been through such a difficult journey and help them create that inner strength and sense of peace and sense that, they can do whatever it is that they've always dreamt about. For those of you that got all the way here till the very, very end, listen, I am so proud of you. It's not easy. There's a reason why we avoid that sort of work. There's a reason why our mind will take us down the easy path. It will take us down to safety. It will make us avoid those areas. It will want us to believe that, we were not worthy. That's why it failed. Simplifying, but not really pushing us forward, but dragging us down. And if you have done this work and you feel now this inner shift that has happened, I am just so happy that you did this, and know that this is just the beginning. There's so many other things that you could be doing to build yourself up and feel stronger. For those of you that found this valuable and want to stay in touch with me, I create videos once a week. So this new content is always here. Make sure to subscribe so that you're notified when I upload a new video. Make sure to like this content, to share it with your friends. I'll see you here next time. Bye-bye.